What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna talk about financing my Toyota Supra. So end of January, I bought this car, brand new 2023 Toyota Supra, and it was about $61,800 out the door, and I financed it through Toyota. However, after 3 months, I refinanced the car and saved thousands. Now, there's gonna be a lot of numbers going on in this video. It might be a lot to take in. I'll have everything written down in the description below. If you wanna go ahead and pause the video, just read through the numbers real quick and then hit play. And then just to at least give you the gist of everything, at the end of the day, I saved around $7,000 worth of interest by doing it my way versus just following the Toyota original loan, doing minimum payments. So there's a lot of money to be saved if you do things the right way. We're gonna get into all the numbers of what I did and then go over some tips for you all when you're looking to buy a car in this crazy market right now where interest rates are kind of high. So stay tuned for all the tips at the end of the video. So now let's go over all the numbers for the car. Mentioned the out the door price. I put $15,000 down and my loan was $46,800. With that, I got a 6.79% interest rate through Toyota. That is definitely a very high interest rate for someone with perfect credit. I know a lot of you can relate to that. Interest rates are high, unfortunately. I did a 72-month loan and that gave me a $793 payment. Now, had I done Toyota's minimum payment, $793 a month, total interest would be around $10,500 over the 72 months. So that's how much interest I would have paid if I did Toyota's minimum payment for the duration of the loan. Now, when you look at interest, your first year's worth of interest is gonna be more than your second year's because interest is based off of how much money you still owe on the car. So on average, the first year's worth of payments each month would have been around 250 bucks worth of interest. So my $793 payment, $250 of that each month would go towards interest, not even going towards the car. So that's a lot of interest. Now, what did I do? So my first month, I paid $1,000 on the car just to make sure the payment worked, all that stuff, just to get it rolling. Second month, I made a $4,000 car payment. Third month, I made a $5,000 car payment. So the first 3 months through Toyota, I paid down $10,000 of this car. Now, the reason why I did that, luckily I'm selling my Nissan GTR and I sold all the car parts and I was able to roll all of that into the car. So it worked out really well that I was able to just knock out 10 grand that quickly. So my new loan, $37,800, knocked down quite a bit. And on the original loan with those 3 months, I paid around $700 worth of interest. Now, I don't really hate that I did that. My friend was the finance manager who sold this car to me and financing it through them. He made a kickback from it. So I'm okay with paying a little bit more knowing that my friend got a little bit of a bonus at work. So I'm okay with that. It worked out well. My new loan, 4.99%. Significantly better. Still in today's market on a brand new car with perfect credit, should be like 1.99. But I was actually pretty impressed to see 4.99. Now with that, it's a credit union. I would highly recommend a credit union. Now, instead of me doing another 72-month, I did a 42-month loan on this car. Going into buying this car, I already knew no matter what, I was gonna plan to pay $1,000 a month. So at a 42-month loan, my payment is actually around $980. Regardless, I'm still gonna pay $1,000 on it, so it didn't really matter. So that is kind of what I did. Now, had I paid $1,000 a month on the original loan through Toyota, I still would have spent around $6,700 worth of interest over about 48 months. If I did $1,000 a month, it would have been around 48 months. And when I look at my new loan, now doing a $37,800 loan for 4.99%, the total interest on that is around $3,500. So just let those numbers sink in. The original loan from Toyota, we're talking $47,000 nearly. We're looking at over $10,000 worth of interest at a 6.79% interest rate. The new one, 4.99% at 2 months, we're looking at $3,500 in interest. So right there is a lot of interest saved. Now, how am I gonna save like 7 grand total? Well, when I sell my GTR, I'm probably gonna put another $10,000 towards this car. And that means we're gonna be down to the $20,000 range. And if I continue then $1,000 a month until it's paid off, we're talking maybe 2 grand worth of interest. I've already paid about 600 or 700. So at the end of the day, I will have paid less than 3 grand in interest on this car, which works out. This is a business car, a write-off. I'll save that money in taxes anyway. So it's a wash for me, and that's why I chose to finance. I did have a lot of people ask me why I didn't just pay cash. If I paid cash, I can only write this off for 1 year. If I finance it and do it over 2 years, that will double the amount of money I will save. So that's kind of the gist of what I did. Basically, Toyota's loan, high interest rate, and refinanced it after 3 months. The reason why I did 3 months is because that's how much the dealer needed to basically make their back end. And again, as my friend who's the finance manager, I figured I might as well at least let him get a little chunk of that. And then refinancing with a credit union is definitely the way to go. They're gonna really hook you up on interest versus a big bank. And for me at least, being able to pay out a nice chunk of this car quickly with selling the car parts from the GTR, and then once I do sell the GTR, that really knocks down all that interest. So with all the numbers out of the way, let's go over my 2 tips. Tip number 1 is get a pre-approval. Tip number 2 is don't be a payment shopper. So getting a pre-approval. Had I done that, here's how it would have went. Went to the dealership, talked about price, MSRP, tax tag, title, 61.8 out the door. I should have taken that number, gone to my own credit union, and just had the approval done with them. It would have been the same rate that I got, 4.99, and then come back to the dealership and say, hey, I'm already approved, ready to go, let's buy the car. Instead, of course, I just went to the dealer and said, approve me here, basically finance through you guys. Dealerships make money off a back end. So for me, knowing that today's market's crazy, a Manual Supra at MSRP was hard to pass up, and I didn't want to do anything to somehow make them not want to give me MSRP. At the end of the day, I know they would have done MSRP anyway, so I was just trying to be nice to them, I guess. That's kind of why I did it. And my friend was the finance manager, so I figured they'll make some back end, I'll refinance later, no big deal. So I'm not mad about what I did, it's all good. But had I just done an approval first, I wouldn't have even had to jump through any hoops. And most likely, had I come in there with that pre-approval at 4.99, the dealership would have matched that. Dealerships make money off the back end. They always have room, no matter what percentage they give you first, they always have room. And when my brother bought a Jeep Wrangler a couple years ago, the dealer offered him like a 7% interest rate. And this was before the market went crazy, so that was ridiculously high. He called his own bank, and over the phone, you could hear the person tell him 3.55%. And as soon as you could hear that, the finance guy was instantly on his computer laughing. Mike hung up the phone, and the guy said, I can do 3.5% for you. So you know there's room every single time you buy a car, but if you get a pre-approval first at a much better rate than what the dealer's gonna offer you first, you're gonna end up doing better, and most likely the dealer will probably match it anyway, and you can finance through them or your own bank, whatever works. Now, point number 2 is don't be a payment shopper. Now, when you go in to buy a car, the first thing a salesman's gonna ask you is, what kind of payment do you want on that car? If you tell them that number, you are in to be taken advantage of, quite honestly. It is so easy to make whatever payment you want work, as long as it's within reason. But I always find it really weird when people ask me about any car, what kind of payment is that? This car could be any payment. If I put 0 money down, I'd probably be at a $1,500 payment. If I put $60,000 down, financing $1,800, I'd be at a $20 payment. So it's pointless to ask about payment. It's pointless to be a payment shopper telling the dealership you have to be at a certain payment. There are so many resources to everybody's disposal. Go online, do a payment calculator, and see what any car you're wanting to buy is going to be. Put whatever money you're comfortable down, play with some interest rates, and you'll know exactly what kind of payment you can expect. For me, I knew I was gonna put 15 down. I knew I was gonna pay $1,000 regardless, so I didn't care. If they asked me what payment, I always tell dealers, I don't care what the payment is, what's the price of the car? You wanna be a price shopper, that way you can actually negotiate price without any extra things they're gonna throw in. So if you get your out the door price squared away first, you're gonna be much better off, and especially if you get that pre-approval, you already have a better interest rate, and then it's really up to the dealer to either match that rate or not, and you'll already have that price locked in, and you'll be better off with a lower interest rate to start. So I think that is everything I wanted to go over. When I made the video of how much I paid for the Toyota Supra, a lot of you commented, were really curious as to what the refinancing was gonna be. And I am really pumped, honestly, that I got it down to 4.99. While that's still kind of high in today's market, the fact that I already paid down 10 grand of the loan in 3 months so quickly, didn't pay that much interest to start, and then now I've already knocked down so much interest, and then once the GTR sells, I'll pay another chunk towards this car, and it really won't be that much at the end of the day. So obviously in today's market, you kind of got to go through some hoops, do some things to really pay down that interest. Some of you may ask, why pay more than the payment? If you pay more than the payment, that extra money is going towards the principal of the car, which will further knock down your loan and further save you money on interest. If you always just do the minimum payment for the whole duration, you're paying the most amount of interest possible. You want to not do that. You want to really just do things to your advantage. And honestly, you shouldn't be buying a car that you can't overpay on. If you are, you're just going to be paying the most in interest. So it's worth spending the time, save up a little bit, be able to put a good chunk down on a car, and be able to overpay the payment, and play with calculators online to really figure out what works for your budget. If you go into a dealership just telling them a payment, they will make your payment happen, but they will be honestly taking advantage of you. So know the numbers first, know every single thing about how you're gonna afford the car, how you're gonna pay for the car, and it'll make it to where even in crazy markets, it's not that bad. Luckily, the way I'm doing it, I don't really have to deal with these high interest rates because a couple grand in interest isn't really gonna make a difference on this car. And anybody can do it. It's really simple. Just know the numbers and be responsible with how you're gonna buy the car. And you gotta work with it in the weird markets. It's a weird market right now, so you just kinda gotta mess with it. But there you guys go, refinancing the Supra, much better off now. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Comment below, what is your guys' experience? Have you done this in today's market? Have you had good results? I would assume so if you do things the right way, so I'd love to hear your feedback. But if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you all in the next video.